Hope you're feeling fine today. Welcome to this another Tuesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. So glad you could join us. In today's program, we give you some vital information for the season and beyond. Coming up, the reasons road safety is everybody's business. Plus, keeping our beaches clean. We explore the link between the environment and the success of our tourism product. Then later, something to whet the appetite, a recipe for your Christmas ham. Our show gets going with the major news of the day right after this important message.
The Ebola virus is transmitted through direct contact with an infected person's blood or other bodily fluids such as saliva, urine, stool, and semen. The virus can also be spread if broken skin comes in contact with contaminated items like clothing, bed linen, and needles used by an Ebola patient. Symptoms of Ebola include sudden onset of fever, intense weakness, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat. This may be followed by vomiting, diarrhea and rash, impaired kidney and liver functions, and in some cases both internal and external bleeding leading to death. Ebola cannot be spread by someone who does not have symptoms. The time between exposure and when a person begins to have symptoms is known as the incubation period. For Ebola, this is anywhere from 2 to 21 days. Infected patients should be handled by persons wearing proper personal protective equipment, then transferred to designated isolation centers. Protect yourself. Avoid travel to Ebola-affected countries. Avoid contact with infected persons. Don't touch the body of someone who has died from Ebola. Wash hands frequently and use an alcohol-based sanitizer. To know more, call the Health Ministry's Emergency Operations Center at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683.
Good day, I'm Stacey Ann Smith, and this is your GIS News for Tuesday, December 9. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller and other CARICOM leaders have renewed their call on the United States to end its economic embargo against Cuba. CARICOM Chairman Antigua's Prime Minister Gaston Brown spoke to the issue at the 5th CARICOM Cuba Summit in Havana on Monday.
President Cuba and representatives of the U.S. Congress end this senseless embargo against Cuba now. Let the Cuban people thrive.
On the day which also marked CARICOM Cuba Day, Mr. Brown commended the island's healthcare workers for their tireless work in the fight against Ebola.
Cuban doctors, nurses, and technicians have not only put their lives at risk to save lives in West Africa, they have saved lives around the world by helping to contain and control the spread of Ebola. They deserve our deep respect, our great gratitude, and our enduring thanks.
Meanwhile, CARICOM leaders are pushing for a greater effort to establish a practical machinery to expand trade and investment with Cuba. The CARICOM chairman asserts that although small trade with Cuba has increased, it would be further expanded if an effective and affordable transportation machinery was in place.
I call at this summit meeting to place high priority on creating mechanisms to move goods, services, and passengers throughout our countries. I'm convinced that if Cuba and CARICOM countries can jointly build a transportation network, all of our economies will benefit.
The CARICOM chairman pointed to tourism as a gateway to increase trade, investment, and cultural exchange. In the meantime, Cuba's President Raul Castro has pledged his government's continued support for CARICOM. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 5th CARICOM Cuba Summit in Havana, President Castro said despite his country's economic difficulties, it would honor its pledge to cooperate and share its modest achievements with CARICOM. President Castro also reiterated Cuba's unwavering decision to support, under any circumstances, the right of small and vulnerable countries to access trade and investment through special and differential treatment. He said the challenges of the 21st century were forcing the region to unite to face the effects of climate change and coordinate an approach to the post-2015 development agenda. In news on Jamaican youth, Portfolio Minister Lisa Hanna is calling on the island's young people seeking jobs to take a risk and create their own employment. Citing prospects in farming, shipping, logistics, as well as information and communications technology, the minister urged youth to take up entrepreneurial opportunities provided by the National Youth Service.
Taking risk is a good thing. It's the best time in the world's environment to take risk. It's also the best time in the Jamaican economy because the Jamaican economy is moving in a direction for you to be able to take the risk, especially where the interest rates are, especially where we're going, especially with regards to the fact that, look, we're not spending more than we earn, and that we're putting in the kind of fiscal controls that allow you to have some degree of stability and courage to take risk.
The minister was addressing the finals of the National Youth Service Entrepreneurship Competition, the Pitch. Competition winner, 20-year-old St. Mary resident Kawane Anderson walked away with $300,000 to invest in his company Golden Plate Event Supplies and Services. Another 20-year-old Akeem Honeygun from St. Catherine placed second and received $200,000 to expand his clothing business, Kendrick Fashions. Third place and $100,000 went to 20-year-old Shakiria Scott and her stationery supply and homework center business based in St. Anne. The Development Bank of Jamaica DBJ is reporting that it has disbursed over $2 billion in loans to various businesses since the start of the financial year. For the April to October 2014 period, over 4,700 loans were approved, valuing $2.25 billion. The DBJ has set a $9 billion lending target for the 2014-2015 fiscal year. Meanwhile, as at November 2014, 17 vouchers valuing $3.4 million were issued to 14 micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, under the DBJ's voucher program. $13 million has been budgeted under the voucher program to provide technical assistance to 85 MSMEs and improve their credit worthiness. The MSMEs will receive between $100,000 and $200,000. And as we go through the Christmas season, head of the Police Traffic Division, Senior Superintendent Calvin Allen, is appealing to pedestrians to exercise greater care on the nation's roads.
This is one of the areas that we have targeted in our efforts in public education and otherwise, and we are going to continue to target it for 2015 to make pedestrians more aware as to the critical role they play towards road safety.
Speaking at a recent GIS think tank, SSP Allen said since the start of the year, more than 90 pedestrians have lost their lives on the roads. Approximately 50 fatalities were related to the actions of motorists, while about 42 lives were lost as a result of pedestrian error. This includes persons crossing the road at the wrong time and using cell phones or earphones while crossing.
If we can cut pedestrian fatality in half, we would be way down the ladder in terms of the overall world standard as it relates to fatality. And this is why this is one of the areas that we have targeted.
In the meantime, the police and the Transport Authority will be working closely to maintain order on the roads, particularly during the holiday season. And that's it for GIS News Today. I'm Stacey Ann Smith. Thank you for watching.
So speak life to the deadest, darkest night. Speak life when the sun.
Violence against women and girls is too commonplace in our society. Too often our women and girls are beaten, raped, and verbally abused. Break the silence. Say no to violence. Let us unite to end violence against our women and girls.
That was a message from Senator the Honourable Sandria Faulkner, the Minister responsible for Gender Affairs, in support of the elimination of violence against women.
It's the kind of tragic scene that happens way too often on our roads. People in the traffic environment making bad decisions that lead to crashes, damaging property and, more important, causing injury and death. Government is moving to reduce those incidents, especially the ones involving public passenger vehicles. The Transport Authority recently announced a new thrust to encourage PPVs to obey the rules of the road. But there's a role for all of us to play, especially at this time of the year. Here are some guidelines.
Research worldwide has shown that driver fatigue and alcohol are among the major causes of road collisions at Christmas. So here are some road safety tips that could save your life. According to road safety experts, fatigue behind the wheel is a real danger, and an obvious cause of fatigue is lack of sleep. So if you are planning a long trip, get enough rest and don't start a trip late in the day. Avoid a long drive at night. The glare of lights, both on your dashboard and outside your car, reduces the ability to see clearly and thus increases the danger. If possible, do not drive alone. Passengers can help to drive and also serve as conversation partners to keep you awake. Statistics show that alcohol is a factor in over 1/3 of all traffic crashes. If you drink, don't drive. If you plan to drink, designate a non-drinking driver. Young drivers are particularly at risk for involvement in alcohol-related crashes. If there is a young driver in your family, strictly enforce a zero-tolerance policy with alcohol. According to the Road Safety Unit of the Ministry of Transport and Works, the tragic death rate is 3 times greater at night than during the day. So if you want to drive at night, make sure that your car is properly prepared for night driving by cleaning your headlights, tail lights, signal lights, and windows. Have your headlights properly aimed. Misaimed headlights blind other drivers and reduce your ability to see the road properly. Avoid smoking when you drive. This can hamper night vision. Reduce your speed and increase your following distance. It is more difficult to judge other vehicles' speeds and distance at night. If you have car trouble, pull off the road as far as possible. Warn approaching vehicles by setting up reflecting triangles near your vehicle. Turn on your car's flashers and stay off the road. Prevent chikungunya. Get rid of mosquito breeding sites around the home. Empty dish drainers and keep refrigerator troughs dry. Punch holes in the bottom of tin cans before placing them in the garbage. Keep houseplants in damp soil instead of water and keep flowerpot saucers dry. Keep drains, ditches, roof gutters and eaves clean so water will drain properly. And remember to open your windows during fogging. Also, wear light-colored clothing and cover your body as much as possible to prevent mosquito bites. For more information on chikungunya prevention, call the Ministry of Health toll-free at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. A message from the Ministry of Health.
The winter tourist season starts in less than a week, and this year we are expecting another record number of tourist arrivals. So it's very important that we keep our environment clean and to take care of our beaches. Trust me, littering has dire consequences for our tourism product and the health of our people. We explore this messy issue in this next feature.
Problem is a really big problem, and we need to be afraid of this problem. When you come out here and see the amount of garbage that has piled up, it is frightening.
A lot of animals mistake garbage for food, and then they eat them and then they die.
I had a discussion with the persons, the Recycle Jamaica campaign, and they're telling me that somewhere in the region of 250 to 275,000 cases of plastic bottles are produced every day. That's a frightening number.
Jamaica's coastal waters represent an invaluable source of food, employment, recreation, and habitat. They also provide defense against many natural disasters. Unfortunately, due to improper waste disposal by many of us, more and more of our waters are being polluted each year, which creates the need for a regular coastal cleanup exercise. Have you ever done this? It seemed like the most convenient way of getting rid of that piece of garbage, right? And after all, who wants junk piling up in their personal space, making things look untidy, or even creating a health hazard? Well, when you throw that piece of trash out of the window, you're actually creating the very reality you don't want, just in another way.
Plastic bottles are actually the #1 items that are collected.
Plastic bottles, shoes, slippers, jars, big pans and stuff, buckets.
It's the garbage that is washing down from our gullies.
You see, when you throw that piece of trash through your car window, it rolls away, very often rolling into a stream or a river, and by ebb and flow, eventually gets into the sea. Then the fishes, marine mammals, reptiles and other sea creatures may become entangled in the garbage, or worse, ingest them and die. According to the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA, a general lack of awareness about the importance of proper waste management is a critical concern for Jamaica. That was highlighted in a study done by the Inter-American Development Bank and has long been a concern for the Jamaica government and non-government groups. This concern has driven a yearly activity to clean up your coastlines internationally and at the local level. Initially started by local NGO, the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, the movement is now heavily supported by Jamaica's government, particularly through the Tourism Enhancement Fund. TEF has pumped millions of dollars into the annual exercise used to commemorate International Coastal Cleanup Day.
Every year, the Tourism Enhancement Fund has been sponsoring the Coastal Cleanup Day. It's very important. It has turned out to be a huge success, and it makes a big difference.
Cleaning up the beach so that the animals in the sea can not die and live happily.
While Kayla may want the animals in the sea to live happily, we humans have major cause for concern. In Jamaica, many depend on the fishing industry to make a living and to get fishes and other sea creatures such as lobster, conch, and shrimp for food. If we don't curb our waste disposal practices, however, we face a grim future.
We have this big problem now with a mosquito-borne virus, chikungunya, and it's partly because of our bad garbage practices, our bad garbage disposal, you know. So apart from the animals, which are important, definitely it's important that we don't pollute the sea, because all of us love to eat fish, right? We're an island, the sea is important to us, but it also affects our public health, because garbage encourages rats, flies, mosquitoes, and those animals can make us very sick.
Not only is our food and health in danger, but also our finances. Tourism is one of the highest revenue earners for Jamaica, and we heavily depend on our beaches for our tourists and visitors to swim and enjoy other recreational activities. Jamaica's coral reefs are also commercially important, as they are important dive sites for water sports operators.
And this is important because we have got to find ways of dealing with this problem, or we're going to face severe consequences. We've started to do a year-round program, which also deals with elements of community sensitization. We're going to have to deal with issues of public education. The Tourism Enhancement Fund, we're working on a project to look at that. We're going to do some surveys and target source areas, high-risk areas, to see what can be done, because prevention, also prevention is better than a pound of care. We've got to deal with that.
NEPA, as the state-run environment agency, also continues to roll out extensive public education programs to sensitize more Jamaicans to the present realities and the need for change.
Public education programs that we would have at the agency and also in collaboration with the Urban Development Corporation. So based on that information, we now know that one of the major thrusts that we should be pushing towards is actually the recycling of these bottles and plastic items. I think another important point is that coastal cleanup is not just about picking up the garbage and about recording the data, but also about getting persons to change their attitude to how they dispose of waste and how they generate waste.
For those who may not see the need for changing their garbage disposal practices or attitudes, think about this. Under the National Solid Waste Management Act of 2002, it is an offense to dispose of solid waste in any area or in any manner not approved by the authority. And if you're found guilty, you could face a fine not exceeding $1 million, imprisonment not exceeding 9 months, or both. The legislation also clearly states that it's an offense to throw, drop, or otherwise deposit and leave litter in public places. Fortunately, the message of cleaning up our coasts and general environment is taking root. And interestingly, it's among the nation's youth who are rallying the cause.
Clean up the beach, promote good health.
It is very important for us to keep our beaches clean, as it's a tourism is a multi-billion-dollar investment in Jamaica.
I think we should be cleaning up because the fishes eating these things and it's not good for them and they're dying, and we have a lot of fishermen around here and this is what they use to survive, so they need the fishes. So it's a good thing to be cleaning up around here.
So at the end of the day, it will come back to affect us. So it's best if we deal with the problem from now, so later on we don't have a situation where it's going to affect us and our future generations.
Use the receptacles and any other avenues that are the proper ways to do it, rather than throwing it in our gullies and in our streets, because they eventually find their way to the coastline.
Don't throw garbage at the side of the road, out of a car window, into a gully, no place at all.
Everyone in Jamaica, across the length and breadth, not just on the coast, are the problem. And what we've got to do is recognize among us what it is that we want to leave for our children. What is the legacy?
Cleanliness is next to godliness. Clean up, live up.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to
live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Food is a big component of the Christmas season. Rice and peas with some nice oxtail, and not to mention the curried goat. And my plate cannot be complete without a juicy slice of ham. Watch this next feature for a scrumptious Christmas ham recipe.
All the chicken they my try fi spy. Fi see is which one of them is going to fry.
Hello, good day. I am Chef Williams, and I'll be showing you today how we'll be preparing a picnic ham. Now, first thing, we're going to remove it from the plastic bag, because I've seen people cooking it in the plastic bag, and trust me people, it doesn't work that way. So you remove it from the plastic bag, place it in your baking pan. Now what you really need to do is add a bit of water to this, because it will stick and burn if you don't have some moisture to help cook it. I'm going to throw at least 2 cups of water in this baking pan. Simple and easy as that. And that's the first step to start steaming off your ham. Next, start your oven up. Put it at 350. You preheat, and then you move on. When it comes up, you put your ham in. It's almost there. So you can put your ham in and close them up. Now an arm of that size is approximately 3.96 kgs, at least 8 pounds. This will take at least 15 minutes per pound. 15 times 8 there is approximately 4 hours within that range. So we're going to use at least 4 hours to steam that off. After that, then we're going to do the finishing product. Okay? So, be right back.
Oh, come, all ye faith, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of Bethlehem. And all the chicken day, my try fi spy. Fi see is which one of them is going to fry.
Okay, and we're back. Now, what we'll be doing is removing the skin from the arm gently. And just let it cool down a little bit before you do that. Add some cores to that. You can add some cloves if you wish, or if you don't like cloves, no problem. A little mustard is good. So just give you a little moisture, little flavor. And more flavors are always good for you. Use a bit of cinnamon sugar, which is about half a cup of cinnamon to a tablespoon, half a cup of sugar to a tablespoon of cinnamon, sorry. And you put that back in the oven to finish off. There you go. Now, after we're finished with that, we'll be dressing the arm with a little pineapple, cherries, and a little parsley. Okay, now your arm is golden brown and beautiful, just ready for eating. But before you start to eat, we need to just garnish and let your arm be more pleasant to the eyes. And you can just garnish this up with a little cherry, pineapples. You can just use some toothpicks to fasten this to your meat. There you go. A nice, well garnished arm for your Christmas.
And all the chicken day, my try fi spy.
We just want to implore one person that if you're going to be wiring your houses with decorative lights, it is important that you check to see if the wiring is okay. You check to see if there are any chafing in the wires, any breaking in the wires, you know. All the sockets are correct and everything. And then you can go ahead and do your decorations.
We've come to the end of another insightful edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do hope you learned a thing or two. And if perhaps there's something that you missed, then you may visit our YouTube page at Watch JIS to see a repeat of today's program and other features. If you have feedback, then please email us at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or catch up with us on all various social media platforms. Remember to take it easy on the roads. On behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS, I'm Edwin Atkinson, and thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.